Hey guys, it's Mikexingchen. Think about this. According to researchers, modern humans have only been around for about 200,000 years. Human civilization as we know it has been around for about 6,000 years. And the span of recorded history has only been around for roughly 5,000 years. So if this is the case, then imagine yourself standing at the starting line of a 200-meter run where every meter represents 1,000 years. By the time you run 5 meters, you're already at the edge of recorded history. And in front of you is another 195 meters of human history we know almost nothing about. And that is assuming everything we know about the timeline of human history is 100% accurate, which is a claim I don't think we can make, as we are still learning new things about our primitive ancestors constantly. And there are many things about them we still can't figure out. So with that said, I wanted to create a video series dedicated to ancient mysteries that we are still not able to explain. And trust me, there are a lot of them out there. And we'll cover these 5 at a time. Here we go. Number 1, the giant stone heads of Central America. If you think about the pyramids or Stonehenge, they really tell you one thing for sure, that people were surprisingly good at moving giant stones around in ancient times. Of course, we have theories of how they were able to do it, but largely these massive structures remain a mystery. This is especially the case with the stone head sculptures of the Olmec civilization of the Gulf Coast of Mexico, which are amongst the most mysterious and debated artifacts from the ancient world. In fact, the only thing we're fairly sure of is that because of their unique physical features and the difficulty and cost involved in their creation, these head sculptures represent Olmec rulers. Or we may have discovered the family tree of Magneto. Anyway, 17 heads have been discovered to date, 10 of which are from San Lorenzo and 4 are from La Venta, 2 of the most important Olmec centers. But check this out. The heads were each carved with hand-held stones from a single basalt boulder and can be up to 14.7 feet in circumference and weighing up to 20 tons. But here's where it gets really mysterious. Archaeologists still have not determined how the Olmec transported the boulders from quarries to various settlements as far as 80 miles away, and in San Lorenzo hoisted it up to the top of a plateau some 150 feet high. And keep in mind, guys, this is not some flat, treeless land they're just rolling these stones around. First of all, these things weigh up to 20 tons. If you don't know how heavy that is, it's like dragging 3 elephants or 30 cattle or Optimus Prime through the rainforest and then maybe up a 150-foot plateau. Number 2, the tracks of Phrygia Valley. The Phrygians were a civilization in ancient Turkey that came to prominence in the 8th century BC. King Midas, who you might have heard of, is the most famous king of the Phrygians. You know that guy who's able to turn anything he touches into gold? Anyway, the ancient track marks carved into the bedrock of the Phrygian Valley have long baffled archaeologists, with explanations as to their origin ranging from Phrygian carts to an ancient method of field construction, plowing, and the channeling of water. But Dr. Alexander Kotypan, geologist and a director of natural sciences at Moscow's International Independent University of Ecology and Politology, has another explanation. Dr. Kotypan and his colleagues who have examined the rocky fields have suggested that it was vehicles and not lightweight carts that caused the tracks. He further suggests that the vehicles were huge and heavy. In addition, he dates them back to approximately 14 million years ago and claims they were driven by an unknown civilization. Dr. Kotypan says the ruts are prehistoric without a doubt due to the weathering and cracks observed, and that the methodology of specifying the age of volcanic rocks is very well studied and reliable. He also noted that the distance between each pair of tracks are consistent and matches the measurements of distance between the wheels of modern vehicles. However, the tracks are way too deep, even for today's cars. The deepest ruts are 3 feet or 1 meter, and what's also interesting is that on the walls of these ruts are horizontal scratches that seem to have been left by the ends of axles extending out of the wheels, raising more question about what sort of transport device was being used. So basically, he's claiming that these tracks were made by some sort of tank-like vehicle from 14 million years ago, which sounds like a stretch, but if you do believe that prehistoric advanced civilizations did exist, then it could be possible. Dr. Kotypan knows that what he is claiming claiming is extremely controversial, but says he must speak up about the findings as mainstream science will not address the subject matter, as it will, quote, ruin all their classic theories. This is not the only place where mysterious tracks have been discovered. Very similar tracks exist in other locations of the world, such as the ones in Maltese archipelago, where tracks look like they deliberately plunge off cliffs or up and down very steep ridges, and some even drive off the island and into the sea, continuing underwater. Number 3, ancient earthworks. In 2007, high in the skies over Kazakhstan, satellite imaging has revealed an ancient mystery on the ground. Pictures of a remote and treeless northern steppe reveal colossal earthworks, geometric figures of squares, crosses, lines, and rings the size of several football fields. They are recognizable only from the air, and they are estimated to be about 8,000 years old. The largest near a Neolithic settlement is a giant square of 101 raised mounts. Maybe that's where the Dalmatians are buried. Its opposite corners connected by a diagonal cross. Another is a kind of three-limbed swastika, its arms ending in zigzags bent counterclockwise. Described last year at an archaeology conference in Istanbul as unique and previously unstudied, the earthworks in the Turgai region of northern Kazakhstan now number at least 260 and are formed by mounds, trenches, and ancient walls. Even NASA is now taking interest, as the space agency recently released clear satellite photos of some of the figures from about 430 miles up. Number 4, Wheel of Giants. The impressive ancient ruins located in the Golan Heights are an estimated 40,000 tons of black basalt rocks that are formed to shape like a wheel, with at least 5 concentric rings with a central burial cairn at its center. Referred to as Stonehenge of Levant, it's dated to the early Bronze Age period from 3000 to 2700 BC, making it contemporary with Stonehenge. From the ground, it appears to be a bunch of crumbling stone walls scattered across a massive field. So it was only the aerial archaeological surveys in the 1960s that finally revealed the whole pattern. The stone walls were consistently thick, between 10.5 and 10.8 feet, and they formed between 5 and 9 massive circular rings surrounding a central burial chamber, the largest ring measuring more than 500 feet wide and reaching 3 to 8 feet high. The rings are not all complete, and some of them are connected with short walls, making what looks like spokes in the giant wheel. It is thought the central cairn may have once held jewelry and weapons, but because of looting throughout history, researchers could not be sure. Although a tomb is located at the center of the wheel, no human remains have ever been found within. Although not much is known about the site, one thing is for certain: the construction is estimated to have required more than 25,000 working days. So that's about 68 years if you don't take any days off. That, combined with the collection and transportation of stones, seem to have required an enormous support network that a nomadic civilization may not have had. And finally, number 5, the appearance of ancient Egyptians. We know a lot about ancient Egyptians. We know their language, which in some cases may not have been a good thing. We know their history. We are infatuated with digging them up in the name of science. We also make roller coaster rides based on them. But there is one thing we really don't know, and that is what they actually look like. Because mummies all kind of look the same after a while. Most people probably think ancient Egyptians look like this, and Hollywood lately think they look like this. But again, that's all just pop culture influence. Greek sources refer to the Egyptians as being dark-skinned and curly-haired, but that's pretty vague. That's like me with a perm. And even the ancient artworks were of little help. And that's because the Egyptians depicted themselves with skin tones ranging from light brown to red to bright yellow to black. Men were often darker than women, probably to indicate that males did manual labor outdoors. Basically, ancient Egyptian artwork was not particularly realistic, and most skin tones were probably more symbolic. So the real conclusion is that we simply can't be certain. But I'm kind of convinced that ancient Egyptians, they look like The Rock. Sorry, that's probably not true, but every time I think of ancient Egypt or ancient Egyptians, the first thing that pops into my head is the movie The Scorpion King and The Rock. You know what it is? That movie was so bad. It was like seeing your grandparents in their underwear. You can't ever unsee it, and that image is just like with you till you die. Alright guys, let me know your thoughts about these ancient mysteries in the comments below, and if you liked this video, please hit the like button. Thank you all so much for watching. See you later.